p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
All right. Anyone want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll approve of the agenda.
All right, I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Public comment. So this is the opportunity for public to comment on items not listed on the agenda. No. And then are there any announcements?
There are none.
Okay. Approval of minutes. Consider approval of the following for October 29th meeting minutes. I thought they looked really good. I didn't see anything.
Was not here, but I was fine with them.
You're fine with them too? Okay. All in favor to, or I'm sorry,
I make a
motion. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearings. Park Meadows, August Adventures LLC applicant, consider application to amend PUD ordinance 297 and preliminary plat for Parkway Meadows.
Yep. So as you guys remember at our last meeting, or those that were there, you probably read in the minutes, if you weren't there, we decided to continue the public hearing until this meeting due to the applicant being unavailable for comment at the last meeting. Since then, he has contacted staff and withdrawn all of his applications. So we're just asking you guys to close the public hearing, and no other official action is needed on this item.
Okay, so I can just announce closing it?
Yeah.
Okay. I will close the public hearing at 7:04 p.m. All right, another public hearing. Consider amendment to Title 11 zoning and Title 12 subdivision of the city code regarding time limit for appeals.
Yeah, so this item is being held in a public hearing because based on recommendation from our city attorney, she recommended that we move away from the state statute of 6 years for a time limit appeal for anything city regarding. So we're asking to amend Title 11 and 12 to switch that from 6 years to 30 days.
Is that pretty standard? I guess I don't know. Not
She,
saying that she's not right, I'm just.
yeah, well, I think what prompted it is there was a Supreme Court decision recently that upheld a city's, I don't know which city it was, but a city had in their ordinance a 30 or 60-day appeal timeframe. And that was upheld at the Minnesota Supreme Court. And if you think about it, if we approve a plat, 6 years later, it's all built out. I mean, but by the time 6 years later, the developer has made investments to put streets and utilities, and private property owners have probably made investments to build on those lots. So the chance to appeal really should be in the early stage.
Sure.
It encourages somebody to appeal early rather than late, so.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure where the 6 years came from. I thought that was a long time.
Yeah, I guess it's some historic statute that is still
Okay.
in place. So she's, I think Lakeville has amended their code as well. She's the city attorney for Lakeville.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Anyone else?
Nope.
No? Okay, so I'll open the public hearing at 7:05 p.m. So anyone have a comment regarding the amendment to Title 11 zoning and Title 12 subdivision of the city code regarding time limit for appeals? Please stand, state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone online?
There's not.
Okay. All right, I will ask again, if anyone has public comment on this public hearing, please stand. And I'll ask one more time. Okay, public hearing closed at 7:06 p.m. All right, general business?
Do we have to do something with that or no?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
we need a recommendation for approval to the city council,
I'll make a recommendation.
okay.
or motion, I should say.
Motion
Yep.
to recommend?
Motion to recommend?
Motion to recommend.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, general business, Dakota Acres, second edition concept plan review, True North Development LLC applicant.
Okay. Today we'll be discussing the concept plan, the most recent concept plan received for Dakota Acres Second Edition. The applicants are in the room. If we have questions after the presentation, they're here to answer those questions. Some background, the property was originally acquired by the city in 2006 when the original developer defaulted on assessments. The city sold it to Global Properties in 2018 and rezoned it to R4 high-density residential as a condition of the sale. Later, they sold that to True North Development in 2024. The current proposal is for the development of one apartment building, which is 35 units, and development of townhomes, 18 units. The neighborhood conditions surrounding the neighborhood to the south are apartments, high-density residential apartments that were recently constructed, and to the south of that is commercial. To the west of that is rural residential property. To the north is a mix of rural residential properties and rural agricultural properties, undeveloped land that's in the process of being marketed. To the east of that is the original Dakota Acres Townhome Edition development. The comp plan guides it to high-density residential, which guides it to 10 to 30 units per net acre. The zoning, it's currently zoned R4 high-density residential. Apartments and townhomes with more than 8 attached units are permitted uses in the zoning district. The density is 32 to 96 units are the required density. 53 is proposed, so it does meet the density requirements. The property would have to be rezoned PUD or planned unit development due to the requirements associated with the city's subdivision ordinance concerning private streets. Currently, the submitted concept plan does not meet the criteria for PUD zoning. The applicants have not yet provided any information related to incorporating design elements, for example, construction materials, landscaping, lighting, that exceed the city standards to offset the effect of any variations for granting PUD zoning. Lot sizes and setbacks here, I'm not going to go through each one, but the proposed concept plan does appear to meet all lot size and setback requirements for the apartments and the townhomes. Height requirements, it's 35-foot maximum height. The proposed apartment building's a 3-story apartment building, and the height is currently unknown. The applicants have mentioned that they are not intending on exceeding 35 feet. If they do so, a conditional use permit may be required. Getting into some miscellaneous requirements, the building facade finish for residential uses shall consist of only Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4 for high-density residential. 25%, 25% of the entire apartment facade shall be composed of Class 1 materials. 25% of the front-facing facade of the townhome shall be composed of Class 1 materials. It's currently unknown, based on the plans, if the exterior finish requirements will be met, but staff will need additional information to verify that requirements being met. Staff notes that the Planning Commission does not review the building designs, but that the above requirements are still imposed upon the builder. 30% of the site shall be landscaped, and a landscape plan shall be submitted to the city with city engineer approval. No landscaping plan has yet been submitted. A delineation was previously completed on the site, but is now expired. It showed no indication of wetlands present on the site. Staff will not be requiring a new wetland delineation for this reason. Another miscellaneous requirement related to refuse. A location for trash has been depicted on the submitted plan. However, design details relating to the enclosure have not yet been provided. They must meet the requirements listed in City Code Section 1143 here. Basically has to be an enclosed building or properly contained in a closed container, and it shall be screened from view, basically. The city also requires that all exterior utility meters and/or fixtures shall be located in interior side or rear yards when possible, and shall be screened from view of adjacent properties in the public right-of-way. No plans have yet been submitted which indicate the location of the exterior utility meters and/or fixtures. Utility plans have not yet been received, but sewer and water are available on James Parkway via stubs. Looping with the existing townhome development to the east would require a private agreement with that development. 10-foot wide perimeter easements and 5-foot wide interior easements are required and depicted on the concept plan. Additional easements may be required for infrastructure or drainage as determined by the city engineer. There is a stormwater pond currently located on the north side of James Parkway, which serves the property. It may need to be slightly enlarged based on the final plans as determined by the city engineer. Parking for apartments, 1.5 spaces are required for 1-bedroom units, 2 1/4 spaces for anything above that. 1 enclosed space per unit is also required. The apartments meet the required spaces and actually exceed it by 4 spaces. The developer is free to get rid of these spaces if they wish to replace it with additional facilities or features. 35 spaces must be enclosed, 35 are proposed to be enclosed. For the townhomes, 2 attached garage spaces per unit and 2 driveway spaces per unit are required. Additionally, half a space of common parking space per unit for guest parking is required. The plan meets the requirements here. The 9 guest parking spaces staff recommends shall be located as close to the townhomes as possible and shall be labeled as such so to avoid use by apartment residents and visitors. Access is currently available off of James Parkway, which is a minor collector. A traffic study may be required based on the projected traffic generation of the final layout. Staff do want to point out that a snow area site has been identified in the southwestern corner of the property. The submitted concept contains an unnamed private street running north and south. City code contains the following requirements related to these. It must be 24 feet wide to accommodate 2-way traffic through the site. Staff do have some concerns with the unnamed private street proposed on the concept plan due to ownership over the different portions of the property, which may complicate owner responsibilities related to maintenance and upkeep in the future. No additional sidewalks or trails are required for the development. There is an existing trail on the north side of James Parkway, and no identified sidewalk or trail corridors are identified through the subject property on the 2040 city's park and trail plan. For the parks, the city requirement is land dedication of 8% pre-development value or cash land dedication 8% of the pre-developed property or cash contribution of 8% of the undeveloped property value. Input will be sought from the Parks Commission, and in 2016, it was sought for a similar apartment plan for the site. The Parks Commission at that time recommended cash in lieu due to no search areas identified near or on the property. Nearby parks that serve the property include Wagner, Whispering Creek, and the Eagle View School facilities. The city requires 10% of the site area shall be usable open or recreational space for project residents, and this can be indoor or outdoor. Both active and passive uses count towards this requirement, so it could be something as simple as a patch of grass for a dog area, or it can actually be like an active walking trail. Developer must identify 13,896 square feet within the development to fulfill this requirement. Currently, the play area depicted on the plan is 576 square feet. Indoor space is currently unknown, but the townhome resident shall have access to any indoor open space located within the apartment building. Also, any proposed playground equipment will require city approval. The city engineer has provided comments and stated that permission will be needed from the gas company to allow for encroachments into the gas line easement. Input from the Public Works and Building Inspection Department has not yet been solicited. The Police Department asked if the apartments and the townhomes could flip locations. The reasoning is less traffic by the townhomes and better access to the apartment buildings in case of emergencies. They also commented there's only one entrance and exit, and they will need to ensure that adequate access for emergency vehicles is provided. Input from the fire department has not yet been received, but the locations of any fire hydrants will need to be reviewed and approved. Staff does note the following general comments. The development is generally compatible with the surrounding land uses. The proposed development generally meets the intent of the 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Apartments containing more than 8 units are permitted use in the R4 zoning district, and townhomes containing more than 8 units are also permitted use in the R4 zoning district. Further input will be sought from the city's Park Commission regarding the desire for land dedication versus cash in lieu of land dedication. The Public Works and Building Inspection Department's input has not yet been solicited regarding the current concept plan. Staff recommends the following conditions for the submitted concept plan. First of all, we'd be requiring it to be rezoned to PUD due to the requirements associated with the city's subdivision ordinance related to private streets. Staff are currently unaware of any potential plans to subdivide the property. City staff must be aware of how the ownership of different buildings will work if left unsubdivided, and staff have met with the applicants and discussed that issue. A conditional use permit is required for any structure that may exceed 35 feet in height. The exterior of townhome dwelling units shall include a variation of building materials. A minimum of 25% of the front facade shall be Class 1 materials. Minimum of 25% of the entire area of the multifamily facade shall be composed of Class 1 materials, and no Class 4 materials are allowed as a primary exterior building facade finish for high-density residential districts. A landscaping plan must be submitted, meeting the minimum requirements of city code. Trash receptacle details meeting the requirements of city code shall be shown on future submittals. A lighting plan shall be shown meeting the requirements of city code on future submittals. A tree inventory prepared by a forester or a landscape architect must be submitted, which identifies the location of all significant trees on the property. If no significant trees exist, the city must get a statement from a qualified professional stating as such. Perimeter and drainage and utility easements must be depicted on the final plat consistent with the city engineer's recommendations. Grading and utility plans will need to be submitted and approved by the city engineer and public works director. Parking shall be provided, which complies with city code, currently exceeding that requirement. Staff have concerns with the unnamed private street proposed on the submitted concept plan, especially related to future maintenance and upkeep. Any connection of the proposed private drive, Oriole Street, to the adjacent townhome development, which is not currently proposed, will require an increment and cross easements with the adjacent homeowners association. Exterior utility meters meeting the requirements of city code shall be shown on future submittals. The developer must identify additional square footage for open space to meet the city's 10% requirement. The requirements of city code pertaining to essential services must be satisfactorily met. Public utilities and services, including fire protection services, must be adequate, and no structure shall be erected within the gas line easement. Now, staff are asking the Planning Commission for feedback related to the proposed concept plan prepared by the applicant and dated 10/22/24. Staff do note that the submitted concept plan does not currently satisfy the criteria for PUD zoning. Additionally, staff have concerns that the applicant may be unable to satisfy the city's 10% usable open space requirement. These outstanding issues shall be resolved prior to any approvals granted for the development. As I do want to note that the applicants have sent over an updated concept plan. It's not here, we're not talking about that one tonight, but it does appear that they believe they can meet the 10% open space requirement based on their calculations. So here's staff's concept plan review. If you have any questions, the applicants are here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just blowing it up on my screen.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's in the packet too, so you can zoom
Yeah,
in the
I know.
packet.
So with regards to the police department, so they're asking kind of for travel purposes or easy in and out, like flipping, like switching them, right?
That was just kind of their first
Okay,
glance
sure,
comment to edit. That made sense in the chief's mind.
okay.
Yes. On the drawing, the easement is the dotted line.
The gas, or, so there's a gas line easement is that red line that's slanted kind of through the property.
Well, there's three of them.
Yep.
Yeah, there's-
Okay,
yeah, so one's the center line of the gas easement, and then it's, I can't remember, 35 feet each direction or something
okay.
along that line.
So that's part of the reason why the applicant located the townhomes to the north
Yeah.
and not the south, is just that easement kind of prevented.
Yeah, so the police chief's comments, just simply flipping them doesn't work because of that easement.
Right.
Unless you turn the townhouses the other way. And then you can maybe put a small one, a medium one, and a, you know. There's different avenues to do that, but
Yes, the townhomes need to be 9 or more attached units to be a permitted use. So if they were anything less than that, they would need additional special approval from the city as part of the PUD.
because the current ones are 5s and 6s and 4s.
Mostly 4s, there's, I think, a couple 5s and a 7.
And a 1.
Yeah, yep.
So I don't think I have much of a problem with changing the quantities, but, you know. If it makes sense for the fire department too, I don't know. I mean, we
Yeah.
have to hear from the fire department.
Sure.
They're a different association then, it would be.
Yep.
That'd be two, okay. And that's the concern with the streets.
Not necessarily. So the concern is the apartments and the townhomes. So if it ever was two different associations one day, a townhome association and an apartment association, they share the same road,
Okay.
a couple other shared facilities, who pays for what is going to be the question 30, 20 years down the line, so.
Or just the idea, I think I know that the applicant has submitted some information to the city attorney's office. I think it was more just a concern of the 35 apartment units going through what's perceived as the townhome private
road
street.
or,
Yeah.
And long-term, will that work well
Right.
for the people that live in the townhomes? Or
And then backing into, you know, if you put the apartments up there, you've got people backing out into, you know, a lot of people possibly backing in and out of that same roadway, you know.
Sure, so there could be yeah. Reverse problems.
Yeah.
How many townhomes are in the existing?
Oof.
49, 48 or 49.
Okay. Then the current apartment is how many units?
The
And the
proposed
next,
one,
the
or
next proposed one would be
You're talking about the one that's already built.
already
Yeah.
built. To the south, 36. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have plans to build another one.
To mirror it, yeah.
Okay.
How many units was the Dakota Acres first? 40.
The
Multifamily
existing
homes,
townhome development there's a total of 49 units there.
Same.
And they use one access as well, so it's kind of maybe a comparison. If you'll recall, I know most of you are on the commission, I can't remember if Casey was or not, but in that Dakota Acres, there was originally the 2 access points, and the one was removed.
Right.
Always intended to be removed on the advice of the city engineer, so there are the 40 or 49 units using that one
An access.
drive there. Haven't gotten a lot of complaints on that. I thought we'd get more, but
Sure.
So far, we haven't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play out how traffic would
Yeah,
work, and that's what I was
Well,
doing earlier
traffic not
today.
only there, but, I mean, you're adding, so it'll be 107 total apartment units there, 60, or, yeah, and then 67 townhomes. How is that gonna impact the traffic going on 2 to 35? It's already a cluster right now with that stop sign.
Yeah, two can,
Five, it's a-
two can handle the traffic. There's bottleneck at the interchange,
So,
yeah. I think it's been the city's position, we have been communicating for years. Ever since I worked here, we have been trying to advance that project with MinDOT.
to get the.
And our
bridge in.
position has been, as a city, we're not gonna stop growing because you're not doing your job and taking care of your infrastructure as the interchange. We could stop growth in our town, but New Prague and Louis County and that interchange feeds, serves a 300 square mile, area. So it's,
Yeah.
the rural area, it isn't gonna stop growing. It's our position as a city, we're not gonna stop growing because MinDOT is not funding it.
Yeah, Commissioner Wolf has been working on it for years and, you know, from the county's standpoint. so.
Yeah, we had a pretty positive meeting with our MinDOT representatives. They came down a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, and they're hearing from constituents as well, and they're seeing the backup. It's over a half mile long, and it's really unbelievable. And they're finally, I think, getting the picture. They thought those stop signs was gonna be a great, they modeled a number of different scenarios, and their traffic engineers told them the stop signs were gonna be the best, scenario. And Scott County and the city said, that's what you think, that's not what we think. We thought the the temporary traffic signal that was there at one time operated better than the stop signs are operating. And so, that's, I guess how I,
Well,
Can
are
add
the
that.
applicant, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to share anything
Yeah.
about your concepts here? or-
Not at this point in time, I don't think.
All right.
Okay. I mean, it'll be helpful when there's the additional information that we need, for sure, to give more feedback.
Kinda like the fire department and stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of like safety and the maneuverability for them to get in and out, and
okay.
that would be very helpful.
Now, with the easement, you can put pavement over it, right? But you just,
Oh,
you
okay,
can put curb and gutter and
Parking
pavement
and
parking.
okay.
and snow storage,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So I mean, I don't know. I think I would go more all townhouses there because of that reason, but, you know, a mixture of the two might be kind of a legal nightmare later on if ownership changes between the properties, you know. Or associations change
Sure.
or whatever, so.
So as has been described in Larry and Alyssa can confirm this more, that your plan would be to either condo out the units or, sell the townhouse units, but all the common area around would be one big outlot. Is that right?
Be one association,
One association.
take care of everything. Then you have your common elements and your limited common elements. You do that, you basically take care of who's paying for what. And on, say, your limited common element, the folks that live in the apartment building, their limited area would be like that parking area. So the people who live in the townhouses wouldn't be paying for that. Just like the patios and the driveways in the townhouses are limited common element for that particular unit. The rest of the open space and the main drive come in would be just a regular common element. And that's how you proportionally take care of it. And obviously, in that type of arrangement, the association is recorded and it's set up in perpetuity to operate this.
Okay.
The only way you could change it is if the owners came in and changed it, and I think under that you have to have a vote of at least, it's right up there, like maybe 90% or something like that, to make any modifications to it.
Okay.
So you're saying the apartments would be a condominium too, ownership of the apartment and,
But they would be either owner or rental,
Oh,
whatever the
yeah.
owner decides to do it.
yeah,
But, you know, you put covenants together and bylaws and all the rest of the stuff that
Yeah.
goes into it before you initially get going on it. All that's reviewed, I think, by your legal staff. and everything.
That's correct, all of those documents.
We'd like to do townhouses. We've been going around with this gas company, as you know, that line is vacated. There's no gas in it, never will be. But for some reason, they don't want to pull that line because they figure it could have asbestos coating on it. And if they do that, then it gets into who's gonna pay for that whole mess, you know? So, right now, we're still talking with them because obviously they'd rather do the townhouses in there. But to make it financially feasible, you gotta do something with it.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about turning some that way, or wouldn't that work?
Yeah, just, we're still, you know.
Quantities,
Yeah.
or, yeah,
We're talking with the gas company to see if we can, right now, they went out there about, a couple weeks ago, and we know exactly where it is and how deep it is. So we're looking if we can push building pad up, right up to it, you know? Because they agree that it'll never be used, and it'll probably stay in the ground forever.
and your building pad wouldn't affect it, you know,
Right.
because you say it's so deep, right? It's
Yeah.
probably 8 feet
They
or
probe
something.
the pipe too, so they know what it is, and
Yeah,
how deep it is and everything. It's
Didn't-
unfortunate, we can't just pull it out of there.
didn't they just move that a few years ago, or like 10 years ago, or?
They moved the easement, remember that, Renee? That easement, did they actually
Yeah.
move the pipe or just the easement?
I don't
I thought they
know.
put the pipe in at that corner to change it used to go
They
right
did.
through the property.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
correct.
moved it toward the edge of the property,
Yes.
but
yeah,
that's why I wouldn't think that would be a asbestos pipe or whatever, because it wasn't 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it
Maybe 20, I don't know, I mean,
well, it was before my time with the city, but I think it was when Dakota Acres that was originally being proposed, so it would have been in 2005 timeframe. I believe that's when the easement was rerouted more along the property line,
that's what I think it was, because
yeah.
I was here when they did it, so.
I would think so,
They did.
because it did come total diagonal through that lot.
Yeah.
Like, basically, right, you can see where the,
You can see the lines
where
going
the
at the
angle,
angle.
Yeah.
probably went right through where the apartment is planned,
Yeah, originally it was right, cut, like you said,
Yeah.
cut right through the
Yeah.
property,
yeah.
right in the center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was part of the planning back then, and I think that's when they diverted around the property, so.
That's correct, yeah.
Unfortunately, these easements are tough to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
They're there forever, you know.
And Jake, what did you say the density was with this particular layout? Okay. Okay.
I don't have any additional questions. I don't know if anybody else, if you do. Casey?
I mean, I guess I don't have any questions for the applicants. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I kind of agree with Brad. If everything could be townhomes, that'd be
It'd be easier,
the best situation.
that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, if they could get up to the easement.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd have been faced with the same issue, you can't build over the top of those easements, you know.
Yeah, his layout was, you know, skirted around those.
He got around them a little.
Yeah, he got around them, you know, but then that, of course, that road from the other association went through.
It was just a big U, basically. yeah.
So I guess one thing I did hear you say is that you want to see the fire department turning radiuses, so
Yeah.
we know that the
Concerns.
fire department can,
Yeah, I see
Make
that would
those.
be a tight corner from the townhouses to the apartment to get back to, you know, if the garage in back was on fire or something, you know, to
Right.
get through the corner, you know,
yeah.
I would
So
think.
we'll have to have the civil engineer, or traffic engineer model those turning radiuses.
I think you have an easement, won't you, to that access point? The city? Out of Dakota Acres. So, I mean, you could, if for emergency vehicles, I think you could go right through there, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think the question just is whether, when you're, in your proposed development, if you're coming south through those townhomes, if a fire truck could make that turn to the west, there's kind of like a S-curve or a reverse curve there. It's a quick right.
If the radius is
Yeah.
adequate.
Yeah, they might have to adjust those curb lines or radiuses or,
I guess let's see what.
okay.
they come up with.
Or a painted curb lines, I mean, you know, painted asphalt would be easier to drive over than a curb with grass in it, you know, so.
I think the last proposal, we put rock
Yeah.
under the side, wasn't it? So there's actually,
Yeah, that was a
Oh.
little different because, you know, we couldn't get to the back of the building, where this one, you can, you have access points on 3 sides of the building.
yeah,
Yeah, so you had like a gravel pad underneath the whole back of the building,
Right.
underneath the grass. So a fire truck could have stabilized there. In your old apartment layout,
well, I guess we just gotta get a little more information and then
okay.
see what can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or go all, both apartment buildings, I don't know, I mean, that's just like, you had it before, I think, right? You were part of the group before, or no? Yeah, I think I remember.
Have you considered one big apartment building like the last?
Like we're gonna do before.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a little risky,
okay.
you know.
Or 2 smaller ones, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the value is in building one building compared to 2 buildings. I'm sure there's a loss of value.
Yeah, just the economics of it, you know,
Yeah.
what can you really charge for
Yeah.
a unit?
So here you're just diversifying your risk, you know, with
Oh, I
building some
see, yeah.
townhomes and some apartments.
Sure.
I think the townhouses is really fine if you can put more in there too. you know.
I think
Yeah.
it would too.
I agree.
Yeah, if you could work with your easement people, I mean, that would be, like you say, if you could get your, because looks like the Dakota, was it, what are the townhouses called?
Dakota Acres.
Dakota Acres. Some of those properties are actually, their back doors are right on your property, right? Or the easement?
Right at the end of the patios.
Yeah, I remember, I was like, whoa, that's gonna be kind of risky, but.
Yeah.
You know, but at one time when it was designed, it was all part of one
One
property.
big,
One
yeah.
property, yeah.
You know.
What'll happen, there should be vegetation, there'll be a break. you know,
Yeah,
And then put in some trees and stuff that should buffer it pretty good.
yeah, it looks like you're in far enough, 30 feet it looks like, so you've got room there, so just doesn't feel like you're 2 feet from the edge, so.
Yeah, you wouldn't wanna put a patio up to the other patio.
Yeah, it'd be a little,
No.
little uncomfortable.
Don't recommend that.
Sunbathing out there, where's the sun?
Didn't get it all.
So I think ultimately, I've heard a lot of different things, but we're going to be asking for a pretty specific recommendation regarding this concept plan. So I've heard you know, you kind of toss out, well, it'd be nice if it was all apartments or nice if it was all townhouses, but I guess the reality is this is what is being asked if you would support this.
Well, I would say turn the townhouses to the back and turn them, and then put the apartment to the front, is what I would suggest. And don't make a 9-unit minimum. If you're gonna have a PUD, you might as well make it whatever they are, 4 and 6 and 8, or whatever the buildings would be if they turn them the other way. So, that would be my recommendation, to look at it on a, you know, you'd have to draw it out and see what it would look like, so.
My question with that would be like, if, and I'm just throwing this out there hypothetically speaking, so if you did flip them and the townhouses, or I'm sorry, the apartment to the north, right, and the townhouses to the south, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were a future buyer, would you want to drive through by the apartment complex to
But
get to your
then you
townhouse?
also have that roadway that would go through. You would have to have the easement too.
What do you mean, roadway that would go through?
The one that's right now down there.
That will not happen. That homeowners association will not allow connection,
Oh,
and they have that right. That's a private street.
I see.
Yeah, it's not proposed, it just dead ends there.
Well, we had that with the firehouse too.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Correct, yep.
They worked on that. So,
Well, Kate was open to connecting to her parking lot at the firehouse. She wasn't opposed to it.
this association has said no up front, or has there
Any,
been discussions? or-
I've had discussions with individuals on the board, not the board as a whole, that lead me to believe this. I mean, you can ask them. Yeah, I think it would be
Oh.
impossible.
Well, work on the easements then, I guess.
Could, I mean, if, let's say this property was developed, could the same association management company manage the new one to help with like the through road and stuff like that, or not? Not saying that might be the best situation,
Ease
but
the
I
bridge.
don't believe they I don't believe they
Oh.
utilize a professional management company.
So private management?
They just use the residents.
I mean, I appreciate that a lot, actually, but, okay. Wow. Okay.
It's a pretty new association, so the developer was running the association until such time as there were not enough units built and sold to individual property owners. I can't remember if it's 75% or whatever. Then the residents took it over, and I am not aware of any professional management association tied with that association.
The same would be for Pete's Hill.
I think they hire their own contract, snow removal and.
I kind of like that a lot, actually, but, I mean, that doesn't really work. I mean, this is kind of like two neighboring farms then that don't like each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like a nightmare.
Actually, kind of surprised the city allows that. Should have advocated for that for Whispering Hills when I was there for 9 years.
Oh, well, we don't control any,
Oh, yeah, I
we're
know,
not
but-
controlling part of that.
In regards to this concept plan in front of us, I appreciate wanting to diversify and have two different things with the townhouses and the apartments. I think it would be easier to have just all townhouses or just all apartments. I really want to hear back from like this, for the safety aspect too. I guess that's one of my main things that I'm concerned about. So I think that will give us a lot of direction on whether this is even doable.
Sure.
Yeah. I think we need a little bit more information.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if that helps or not.
So I've,
Could you speak up just?
Oh, sorry. Terrible with the microphone.
and you talk quietly.
And I do, sorry. I said in regards to this concept plan, I think either all townhomes or apartments would be best. I appreciate that you want to diversify both the townhomes and the apartments. I understand that aspect of it. I think my main thing is I'm really concerned about the safety and the fire trucks being able to, and whatever else needs to get in there. So I really would want to hear back from them first to see if this concept plan even would work, or if things need to change based on that. Is that helpful or not? Yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything else or,
I shared.
Yeah, I agree with Brad. It'd be nice to see if you could figure out something with the gas line that's
Yeah.
never gonna be used. I mean, that's unfortunate that that's a limitation like that. I mean, I can't believe the state or the county can't tell them.
You know what's required to remove that gas line?
Yeah, can you, talk on your speaker?
I do not know.
Utility companies are kind of like an act of God. They, electric companies and gas companies.
Railroad.
No, yeah, railroads, nobody can force, once they own a perpetual easement, nobody can force them to remove that.
Okay.
It's just a right that they purchased at some point from that property. It runs with the land.
Hey, we even talked to them about, taking it over and accepting the responsibility of it and try to get it out of there. But we never, they weren't interested in that too much either. I don't know why, it's not really, is it Minnesota Gas that runs around town here? Or is it
Minnesota Energy Resources
that's
and
northern, I think.
Greater Minnesota Gas. I think we have-
Minnesota Gas, but I think Northern that owns that pipeline.
Yeah,
They're out east, that's who we talked to, someone out in New Jersey or something.
yeah, the city just simply can't force it. We have no authority
No,
in
just-
that.
Right.
It's a good little education piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful when you sign easements.
All right, do you have what we need?
I think so. I don't think you're prepared to make a recommendation to the city council, so we'll have to come back with,
More
But you said
information.
there's a update to this that you're not sharing right now.
Jake received a revised concept that identifies some more open space.
Yeah, it really just kind of showed the open space. There was an additional walking trail added and some landscaping features that were displayed, but it wasn't too much different to,
Yeah, it's generally the same layout.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we don't have a recommendation to the council, so we'll be going to the council in December, I guess.
So basically, you're tabling it.
Well, number one, they want to see the turning radiuses on the fire trucks.
Yeah, you wanna see what the fire department has to say about it first, right? See if it's even feasible.
Yeah. For them to maneuver the turns.
Yeah.
And then if it is, then
I would say if it is feasible, then all the additional information that the staff mentioned in that one slide, if that information would help as well, for us to help put this concept further.
More definition on the
Yes,
open space.
Thank you.
Open space and the PUD were kind of
Yeah.
the two outstanding
And
items.
Right.
have you done any building renderings yet that, I mean, I don't think you've shared any with the city, but you have exterior renderings on the building at all?
On this particular one?
On the apartment building, or assume the townhouses might be similar to the others?
Well, the townhouses, I think there's some renderings on those. As far as the apartment building, still been moving around, with units. I think they finally got it down
Yeah, the minimums.
25%.
Yeah, minimums are 25% on each side.
For the apartment, you just can't use vinyl. For townhomes, you can use vinyl, just the,
But on the building department, you have to use steel.
it can be a few different things. It can be,
I can't remember if steel is on the list, but
no, you can use anything, I think, except for the vinyl and wood.
yeah, we can confirm that.
It's in the slide. I can go back to it.
And did you look back at the old renderings of the townhouse layout that he had? Or have you seen them?
The townhouses,
Yeah, the old layout.
of what they are going to look like.
The
So
original
of what was proposed 20 years ago or whatever.
Giles,
Oh, what Giles did?
yeah. At one point.
In that
I'm sure.
area, to see the layout of the road and whatnot. I think the aerial photo shows it, but
Yeah, I haven't really studied it too much,
Oh,
but,
okay.
we can see, how many units would he have in there? Do you know?
Let's see if I can find anything on that.
'Cause like I say, I don't think we're stuck on a 9-unit
No.
townhouse. I mean,
No.
it could be a combination, whatever mathematically fits.
Reconfigure around that easement, then you don't have to have 9, we could have maybe 4 or.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, if you looked at it the other way and then maybe some the other way, I don't know, it depends on,
Maybe 2
If you
or
go,
yeah,
Yeah.
just mix it up, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, steel siding is allowable. That's a class 3 material, so you could use that on the sides.
I can't remember, is there like a minimum amount of units though? Like, do we have to have so many townhomes to fit on that thing?
You have to have a minimum of 10 units per acre. And I think the site is a 3.1 or 3.2?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
Well, so then if we can't fit 32 townhomes,
right, that's
that's not a problem.
That's the problem with the townhomes.
Yeah.
Is that,
But that's part of a PUD too, it could be amended. no?
we can't, the Met Count, we have to do a comprehensive plan amendment. If they're gonna go less than 10 units per acre, then we have to re-guide it back to medium-density residential under the comp plan.
And then you can
And then that,
put townhouses in a medium density,
yeah, you can put them in either,
yeah. So
townhouses in either.
I think that might be, in this lot situation, that might be about one of the best options available, I would think, so I don't know what that entails, but, you know, if there's an easement that it's like an act of God to get rid of, and there's a roadway that can't be serviced through because of this issue, there's gotta be other avenues to look at, so.
Right.
You know, I don't wanna cripple a project based on a state mandated thing that we
We
can't,
can
you know, we could override or do
maneuver.
something different to make
yes.
it happen, so. It's been empty for 20 years, so I. you
Yeah.
know,
No, I agree with you.
Originally, I think, what was there, 36 townhouses? I think.
Yeah, why didn't we? We couldn't,
And that's what the easement
that
probably.
easement.
Yeah. But the easement, I think at one time was gonna be part of the green space, or, you know, because you can't really do anything with it other than pave over it, or, but you need green space anyways, so.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend looking into, so.
I agree with that. It's a good idea.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you'll get us a copy of the recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah, after Jake types up the meeting minutes. Get you something.
We'll try to get them done before Thanksgiving.
Tomorrow?
They're
Okay.
already almost there.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
This is my tall son.
Don't hit your head on the door.
He looked up like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, moving on, general business. Zoning ordinance amendment discussion fences.
Yeah, this will be pretty quick. At the last Parks Commission meeting, November 8th, it was decided by the commission to, last year, November 8th, 2023, the commission meeting, it was decided by the commission to install bathroom enclosures for restrooms located in city parks. We plan to do one enclosure per year until all portable restrooms were enclosed. Boulder Heights Park was the first enclosure planned. During planning work for that, staff had a desire to place the enclosure near the walking trail and the playground along Oxford Avenue due to access and maintenance. The enclosure would be considered a fence, unfortunately. So fortunately, it's exempt from a permit due to the purpose of the fence. However, it still must meet the following requirements: shall not exceed 8 feet, except by conditional use permit. We're expecting them to be about 8 feet in height. No fences shall be located within the front yard of any low-density residential zoning district. Boulder Heights Park is located on a corner lot and therefore has 2 front yards. So the setback distances are a little greater on that location. Fences for special purposes and fences differing in construction height or location may be permitted in any district only by issuance of conditional use permit and upon evidence that the special purpose fence is necessary to protect, buffer, or improve the premises for which the fence is intended, which we believe it would. So here's just a little screenshot of Boulder Heights Park and what I'm talking about with this 2 front yards. So there's the primary front yard and the secondary front yard. That highlighted area is just the portion of the property where we cannot erect this structure. It's also where we want to erect it, just due to the ease of access. One of the possible solutions presented was to issue a conditional use permit for each enclosure that does not meet the requirements of a special purpose fence. Instead, staff recommend a zoning ordinance amendment, which would create an exception for these types of fences for the purposes of screening portable restrooms on city-owned property only. This would allow staff to construct the enclosures in the future at locations that may not currently meet the requirements while avoiding the conditional use permit process for each and every enclosure. The Planning Commission is being asked to provide feedback and guidance related to the recommendation from the Parks Commission and staff to amend the zoning ordinance to allow for this exemption. If the Planning Commission agrees, staff will draft an amendment for public hearing at the next meeting, likely. Questions and discussion.
Do you have an aerial of where this is? I'm
Yeah, I can pull up something.
just kind of understanding the concept here.
You're familiar with Boulder Heights development, right? The location?
Which one is that?
South of Boulder Point.
South of the golf course.
Yeah.
On the
Where
other
you used to live?
KJ Walks development.
Where I live now,
Oh, where he lives now. Okay, all right.
where the cool people live.
Fancy people.
Our accountant lives there too.
So do you like fences around your toilet?
I gotta see it myself, to be honest with you.
So this is on that corner right when you pull in and you take
Correct.
left, right? The first left is
Yeah,
that corner.
I pulled it up here
And
now.
what is that X there? Is that the toilet or what is
What's
that?
what?
What is the big square there in the,
Oh, he's looking at that other,
The big square is the playground. The red square is going to be the future shelter, approximately.
yeah, okay. So that's well within, you're not building in the yellow, is that what you said you were?
We want to. We would like to. It's not shown on there.
Can you zoom, or can you zoom in more on that drawing?
I'm not on it.
Oh, you're not.
So wouldn't you put a restroom by a trail?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what we're,
Because sometimes the porta potty people go on trails to service, like at golf courses. houses and
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, they do.
So I don't know if this is an issue because it's next to the playground that you want to have it closer to the kids, or what? I don't,
You want to have it closer to the street. I
We
mean,
wanna have it-
you're asking to be able to place a porta potty enclosure close to the street.
Yep, for the reasons you said, for access, for maintenance, and
I'm just gonna throw out, I'm gonna be contrary to your recommendation, but a porta potty people will be able to drive down the trail, no matter where it's at, if it's on the right of way, or if it's 50 feet down the right of way, on the trail, if it's still on the trail.
usually, I mean, I don't know how big this trail is, how wide is it?
It's 10
Short-
feet,
10
right?
foot?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to,
How wide is the
So-
trail?
it's
It's
8
10
or 10.
It's
I think
10
it's
feet.
8,
Okay.
or 10.
Feet.
So, my comment is, why can't the toilet go where you have it? I mean, they have 50 feet of hose usually that they just,
Where the shelter is, you mean?
yeah.
So staff's recommendation is just we want it closer to the trail. It could go by the shelter. We just don't want them, if they have to drive across the grass, we don't want them driving across the
No,
grass.
I understand that, but why did you draw it there if you want it by the trail?
That's the shelter, that's not the restaurant enclosure. That's
Oh.
a picnic shelter.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, that,
Oh, I thought
where'd the
you were talking
picnic,
about toilet.
yeah, where'd that come from?
Where did the red shelter come from?
I
Where
think
is the shelter?
You should pull it up on the
Where's your
screen and
toilet
like
shelter?
point where, with the mouse,
You said you
and
were
an
pulling it
aerial
up.
view where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we don't have a proposed location. We want it to go anywhere in pretty much the yellow, north and south. If that makes sense.
Okay.
okay.
All right. I would propose that it goes on the northern side of the playground, closer to where Beard Avenue and
Looks like it's a hill.
Oxford come in.
Dip there?
It might be a
On
slight
the-
grade, but it's, that way you're close to the walking trail and you're close to the
Yep,
golf course.
yep. So that's like kind of, yeah, exactly where we'd want it, is somewhere close to the trail, close to the playground.
Picnic
This is not
shelter.
This is not the area. This is
Oh, you
not
want the aerial now? Thought you wanted this one, sorry.
No, we have that. We're looking right at it.
Okay.
Isn't there a ice rink over in
Rowena, yeah.
no, what, is that over in Elko?
Rowena's across from Wagner.
Yeah,
Little,
Hockey rink there,
then there's a
hockey rink at Little Windrose.
yes. and
Windrose, that's what I'm thinking of. Is
Are they
there
gonna do a
toilet
hockey rink
there?
in Boulder Heights?
Okay, is there a
What's that?
fence
Oh.
They
around?
do a hockey rink in Boulder Heights.
there's not enough room.
Yeah, there is. If we have a porta potty, you can have a hockey rink.
How about your backyard?
Was on by the rink down there, right?
Um.
There's a closure?
No, that's actually at Wagner Park. The ice rink with the Rowena,
Yeah,
that just has a porta potty,
Oh.
like tucked in, it's around some,
yeah.
in trees.
Up.
It's
the
right next to
path,
the
right?
trail, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is what you're seeing here, you can see the trail outline, playground, you can't see it on the map, but it's there now. So anywhere pretty much along here, staff's thinking is the truck can pull in right here and park, won't be in anyone's way, service the porta potty, people walking on the trail can use it, people on the playground can use it. We don't wanna put it this far up to make it harder for the playground to use, then you're gonna get more golfers using it. It really is meant to service this playground, so.
But what Jake is asking you is a policy decision, so take Boulder Heights out of the
Right,
equation. This
right.
is a ordinance
Look in front
amendment
of
that
the
would
other
allow
park here while we got it up
them
and
closer
tucked,
to the right of way, so,
you know.
just what is that distance, or do you support it at all? What do you think is appropriate?
I'd like to see the park I mentioned in the Rose Hill, or,
Little
Rowena?
Windrose.
no, over here.
Windrose?
Yeah,
Uh,
by the,
Little Windrose?
yeah, right there. Is there a toilet there, you said?
Yep, right here in between the basketball court and the playground.
Well, that's not a very hard spot to figure out a fence for.
No, that one wouldn't need any kind of special, it would meet setbacks in that location, so this park wouldn't be,
How about the one down here, what we said in Rowena? Well, we got some examples, you might as well discuss them. So.
Mm-hmm.
Rowena's would also not be an issue because it would be located far enough away from the street and the property lines. It's right here.
So the guy drives back in there, right?
Yep, he drives on that trail.
Yeah.
That one's a little wider, it looks like.
Yeah, that is wider.
The guys drive on it too. They'd service the parks.
Are they gonna fill the rink this year if we get ice or cold? Or?
Once it stays cold you gotta talk to Corey about that.
All right,
It's a
I digress.
It's okay, Brad. So how do we feel about fences around porta potties?
Well,
we wanna do-
I like the idea of an 8-foot fence around porta potties, yeah. I don't mind it, I like it.
I'd rather not do a conditional use permit for each one.
I agree.
Okay.
So I think
I think it'd make it a lot
a
easier.
ordinance that changes it to a city-approved
Yes.
facility.
Okay, no, it'll be a pretty easy exception. There's already exceptions listed. We're just adding another one, so we'll
Okay.
have something back for next month's meeting, hopefully.
Okay,
Public hearing.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, miscellaneous, planning commission meeting start time, 2025.
So some years ago, I would say it's been at least 5 years, but we had a discussion whether anybody was in favor of moving meetings up to 6 o'clock versus 7 o'clock. And I know at that time, Brett was a no, but we're asking the question again, if anybody is.
I'm open to it, but I'm one person, so.
I'm also open to it. That allows me to potentially see my children or child before they go to bed.
It doesn't work for you, Brad?
I work from home, but I usually am in my basement working till 5:30, and then I get up and make supper for the family, and then get here just after supper.
Gotcha.
Today I made pizza from Domino's, so it was quick and easy, and that's why I was here early. So.
Do we want to wait for next month to see if Joseph and,
Probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did,
because we're missing a few people, so.
Yeah, Joe, he works, I know he works 2 jobs. Melissa did say that she was in favor of the 6 o'clock. When she texted me that, she texted me and just said that.
Sure.
But I think either one works, so. But we should know before the new year because we have to publish all of the meeting dates and
Oh.
times for the whole year.
Sure.
How's it work for staff?
either is fine. We don't have an opinion.
You don't have an opinion.
We're fine with
When do you
whatever.
eat?
Parks Commission meets at 6.
No, when do you eat, I say?
Oh, when do it depends. Sometimes I'll go after work and get something. Otherwise, if it's gonna be a quick meeting, I'll wait till after the meeting and get something on the way home.
Well, you're already
Yeah,
cooking
we-
for your family, Brad. Why don't you just bring dinner in?
Yeah, I guess. Bring it in.
Okay.
Yeah, either works for us. The city council, they have workshops at 6, and then their regular meetings at 7. But if they don't have a workshop, then they move their meeting up to 6, so they are always
At 6.
starting at
Start,
6.
okay. Okay, so more discussion on that next month?
Yeah, we'll just continue it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then community development updates?
I have a lot of updates. We have a new mayor and council members starting.
He's across the street neighbor of mine.
Is he? Okay. Right across the street? Do you know him much?
Yeah,
or-
I
Yeah,
met him a few times, yeah.
okay,
Hasn't lived here for much more than 2 years, maybe. So
yeah.
Does he live in the one right next to that long gravel driveway or no?
One in.
Okay.
We're doing orientation with them on next week, or 2 weeks from now, and they'll be sworn in, so. I don't have any updates unless you have questions on any projects that are going on.
So has there been any more discussion on around here? I see this house is for sale. Are we buying it or no?
We've been talking to the city council, basically all the properties here are for sale, and they are not asking us to pursue purchase agreement on them.
They don't care about my road ever going through.
Well, I think they're waiting to see, we're in active discussions with this property owner that bought the Barsness property here that surrounds City Hall, on whether they might make a connection to the north through their development, but we don't know when that might happen or if that might happen, but I
And then
think
the
what,
little piece of land that they own between here and there,
yeah, they own that, yep,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of a convenient thing back in the 50s or whatever that was plotted out,
Yeah,
yeah, to kind of shoehorn the city into a position, you know. So,
yeah, I don't know the history on how this campus came
yeah.
to
and
be
then-
here.
Well, the railroad used to run right here,
Huh?
the railroad, too,
That was over there.
yeah.
But I mean, it was like these two properties, like, but right around the city hall here. I mean, they just both owned a piece north of it and to
Oh,
the
yeah.
east of it. So it was just a weird concept, so.
Yeah, I imagine that in 1990 or whenever this building was built, the city of Newmarket, and it had a population of like 400, probably just bought the minimum they thought they needed for a fire hall. And, I don't know,
Yeah.
probably didn't want to buy anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, the lot lines are just so funny.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a interesting property here, isn't it? I mean, because that's where the road would go through someday.
Yep. Yep, if the road goes there, it would, yeah, likely need some of that property. Rich drew up kind of almost like a hand sketch, but how it would connect, because Bart Winkler did a wetland delineation, so we know the boundaries of the wetland or where you could sneak through there. And Rich did do a drawing on how that connection could be made.
Because how many owners are there right now? There used to be 3. Now there's 1, 2?
Well, there's two to three, you know, this, Lois, whose house is for sale, and then Joe Fregis owns 2 parcels. The city already owns one, and then, Tracy Fregis owns another one, but his wouldn't be needed for the road.
What do we own?
There was a house here that was torn down,
Yeah.
we owned that
Okay,
lot.
okay.
We don't own all the way up to County Road 2, it's just kind of a little landlocked,
Yeah,
piece there.
that was for the roadway. of it.
Well, we bought it for 2 purposes, really, or 3 maybe. There was a blighted house on the property that was in terrible condition, and we wanted to remove the blight. It was a garbage house. And potentially right-of-way for a roadway alignment and potential redevelopment. So anything that wasn't used for a road, the road alignment maybe could be sold for redevelopment.
Yeah. What are they doing with Henry's old place?
Brandon, that is the house on Main Street.
Which one, the one?
Yeah, the way end, yeah.
Gonna get demolished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as much as I know right now.
You don't have a schedule on that?
No.
Did they have to do any remediation for, has that been completed?
Yes.
Okay,
And it was like 10 times cheaper than the house next door here, but
sure,
Corey kind of is spearheading I did the asbestos abatement and he's doing the demolition part, so
okay,
I'm a little bit out of the loop now.
sure.
No fires?
No,
So,
no, none of that one. That one will be
Guys,
demolished.
you couldn't get Audie to want it? Or-
no, I don't know.
I don't know, the garage looked like something Audie would take, so.
Yeah, he did look at them, but he wasn't really interested in them. He looked at the house too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the house would be a lot of work. So.
Yeah, he said it wasn't really worth his time.
Sure.
Okay.
Any developments sold behind my property? I know they're developing.
Yeah. Yeah.
See all the equipment.
Yeah, there was a building permit that came in, unfortunately, the lot like right behind your house. So
It's sitting on my desk. Brandon's reviewed it, and I'm just gonna re-review it.
it'll be the first one on that street except for the existing one, so of course.
All of,
many are built
all of the lots sold. They've closed.
So far, yeah, just the one is
Except the
fully
ones on the
built.
wetland. The
Okay.
I think we've.
developer kept those.
5 to 7 building permits though.
Yeah, so one's getting pretty close to being done on the other side of the street.
Yeah, they must be doing it most of the work themselves or something. 'cause-
That one is, yeah, so it's a daughter of a home builder from Wisconsin,
Sure.
and he's doing the house himself, I believe.
Okay, because we're like, why isn't siding on that? It's been a long time. So we just assumed that somebody was doing it privately.
Yeah,
Like you said, you drive by, like you said, you drive by and look at this big house compared to the little old house.
Yeah, I'm gonna be staring up at McMansions. It's great.
I don't know square footage wise what they are, but yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty nice houses, really. I can't remember how many they closed on, but they closed on, so Lennar, bought all of the lots in Ridgeview Heights, and they are set to close on all of the lots in Boulder Heights. But they haven't closed yet. They're shooting before the end of the year.
They haven't closed it?
They haven't closed yet. They closed on a couple. There was a couple platted lots from the older subdivision that they closed,
so
or
they're-
they closed on,
Model home.
but all of the stuff in the new subdivision, they haven't closed on yet.
So, yeah, we'll have a neighbor soon. Which is
Yeah,
awesome.
I take that back. I think they closed on 15 of the older platted lots.
Is that one built out now,
Boulder Heights.
the land? I mean, is it all, roads are all in?
Yeah, we're working on some punch list items and,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
they're all been
paved.
built and paved.
Yeah.
But are there expansions in the forthcoming, or is it all landlocked right now?
I think all the expansions are determined on Boulder Heights.
Yeah, Boulder Heights is,
I don't know, that's what I'm saying. Are they already done with all their
Yeah.
phases?
Boulder Heights is done with all of their phases. There's 30 acres to the south of Boulder Heights. If you keep going down Oxford, that is within our comp plan and I believe might be coming on the market. So we might be seeing somebody inquire about development there.
Was that the people that wanted the trend, road trees? Or was
They're
that-
just to the
Nick?
west of that 30, yeah. The 30 is agricultural.
Yeah, there's been a lot of sales down there of those acreage homes over
Okay.
the past few years.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming Lydia Lane is never gonna open up to Beard Avenue?
It won't open up as long as the township owns the road and it's not paved. You know what, I'm looking at the other side of the road. I'm looking at,
I guess partially, it's paved up until the rocks.
I'm gonna share my screen. Are you talking about right here?
The one that was all, yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so as long as this is gravel and the township owns it, there won't be a connection. That was the agreement the old city council had made with the township. The township, they wanted this street paved by the developer all the way out to 91. It was part of the agreement to annex the property.
Yeah.
So instead of the developer paving what was adjacent to his property, which might have been, could have been one theory, is that he would have paved Beard and paved to here. The township wanted him to pave out to here instead. So the developer of Boulder Heights paid for that paving up to about here.
I don't think it'll ever connect in our lifetimes, but it could connect in the future. There's some property to the south of Boulder Heights that is owned by developers, but they could access that through the public streets in Boulder Heights, so they wouldn't need to use Beard.
Yeah. So
That would
this
again
is-
delay that.
This is something that's kind of on our radar to start talking to Scott County, Rice County, the township on how we're gonna handle this Beard Avenue going forward.
That's 10 highlighted there.
Yeah, this, these three here total like the 30 acres that are gonna be coming up for sale.
I see. So Casey, which are you? On that little curve there, or no?
You see where that cul-de-sac is? Right in that area,
Oh, I see.
next one over. Yeah, I think it's that one.
So is that road done now, all those roads?
Yes, unfortunately. Needs a street sign, by the way. I don't know who's responsible for that, but Jada Way needs a street sign.
Okay, yeah, they'll, the developer is working on those last punch list
Then
items.
I would say that Oxford and is it St. Andrews, somebody needs a stop sign. I don't care which way it goes, but
We did discuss that with our city engineer.
It's actually gonna be on the city council meeting on
okay.
December 5th. His recommendations, and I think it's on, not on Oxford, but on the side streets that they'd be.
Excellent.
Oh, so that road right there would go out to that 30 acres.
So, but the city council does approve those recommendations, so.
Originally, I think they were planned, but not until the development got so big where they would be
Yeah.
needed. Now they're, obviously, you can tell they're starting to be needed.
Yeah,
more
it's just,
and
there's a lot of kids over there, which is great, because I want to see that park thrive, but
Yeah.
it's just, people drive slow, or do not drive slow.
Do you see the park getting good use,
Oh, yeah.
really?
You see the walking trail getting used?
Yes, actually, I do.
Good.
even I do. If I go through there, like, during the day, and there's
Yeah.
usually somebody walking out there with their dog or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that, does that trail connect up to the townhomes on Pete's Hill?
Boulder
No.
Point.
yeah.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it does not go up to Pete's Hill.
Yeah, there's a guy that walks, an older gentleman that walks by our house every day, and that's his route, I guess.
Did they build those little lots right there? On the east side, right there, just north?
Just that one lot
The one lot, was it?
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember what we decided.
on Beard. It's a pretty nice
They were
house.
trying to-
Very nice
They were
house.
trying to squeeze two in there at one time.
That's a very nice house. Whoever got that one, they did a good job.
We should have we should have done like a before and after picture of the site, because it just, I don't know how they could fit that on there, but they did.
Looks like a pretty
Yeah.
good sized house.
That's a huge house.
Is it?
It was, it's actually the highest valued
Was
house
it that
that we
$1 million
have
house?
issued a permit on.
My son said a house sold over there for $1 million, or the lot did, or I don't know what he was talking about.
This is over $1 million house. This is like $1.5 million.
Thank you.
You scroll down so I
Sweet,
can
now
see
I don't
the-
feel bad.
The last sale price.
What's that?
Can you scroll on the left side so you can see like the last sale price?
Oh, here. I don't know if they closed on it. Yeah, it looks like they have.
Oh, yeah,
Might
they've
not
closed
be
on it.
in. It's not in there yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is just the lot price, so,
Oh,
I mean, just
okay.
the lot was 200,000.
Okay. Well, I don't know what he was talking about. That's the one that came to my mind, but I was like.
Oh, that was probably the
I'd
one,
say
yeah.
the best, if you don't like mowing your yard, the best house that's in the area is if you go scroll uptown to Pete's Hill, that house right there.
He does mow it, though. That big steep hill.
No, that one right there.
Yeah,
It's got a gigantic, deck that you can, it's a really nice view.
yeah.
That one right next to it, the guy, when I see him mowing that on his riding lawnmower going up that hill, I want to call the cops to have him on standby. It just doesn't look safe.
Yeah.
So is that, you said almost built out, or,
Pete's Hill.
yeah?
There are
I haven't been up there for a year.
probably,
It's at least 75%, because I think that's when they took over.
there's
Way
probably
different
only
than
8
when I used
lots
to go up
left.
there.
8 single families. What's that?
But it looks way different than when I used to go up there.
Yeah. I like that development.
The HOA is only the townhomes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, because the streets are all public, unless they have some HOA related to the sign in the mailbox bank or something, but otherwise. Well, I'm not sure, maybe they have covenants.
well, it's nice to see them getting built up, I guess,
Yeah,
other
and
than seeing them empty for years.
so I guess one thing that we did forget to update you on is at the last meeting, you reviewed a concept plan out by the school for that Wagner property. And the city council also recommended that some kind of parkland be incorporated there. So they sent it back to the developer, and we're waiting to get their revision.
Okay.
I'm sorry, which lot is that? I'm sorry.
I think, yeah, I think were you at the last meeting?
No.
This was Eagle View Estates, that north of the,
Tom was part of, or people that were, what's their names?
it's the Wagner family.
No, I know, but it wasn't, at one time it was at a
Oh,
purchase agreement with,
with Gary Juby,
and,
Ted Kowalski.
Ted.
Yeah, Gary and Ted was on-site marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
not anymore, but it's that land.
that land. It's 50 acres.
Yeah.
And we reviewed a concept plan, and there was some differences of opinion about park dedication within this development. But the city council made the recommendation. They didn't say they wanted the full 4 acres or 8%, but they wanted something there for kids in the area.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we're hoping we get to see that tomorrow, but. Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right. Any other updates or questions? No? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, meeting adjourned at 8:29 PM. Thanks, everyone.